Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 612. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is the 19th of April, and it's been a couple weeks since we recorded, so we didn't last week.
Yeah, I had some medical stuff happen. So since the last time I've seen y'all, I've been to the doctor 3 times. It'll be 4 tomorrow. So I was put on some antibiotics for an infection and had a severe allergic reaction to those antibiotics and almost ended up in the hospital. So, yeah, it's been I was just telling Leslie, I just picked up knitting. This is the first time I've crafted in over a week. So, I was so sick, I let Leslie wind off all my skeins of yarn.
You say that like I can't be trusted or something.
No. Like, I just, during knit night last Wednesday, I was starting to feel crummy, and I laid on the couch and watched Leslie as she wound everything off for me, and Leslie's been a lifesaver, literally. I probably would have died had you not brought me that Gatorade.
I feel like DoorDash would have saved you, but I made life a little less inconvenient. I'll take that.
Yeah, so, yeah. Definitely, that's what kept me out of the hospital, though, was that Gatorade.
And liquid IV, which is a thing I
and
didn't
liquid
know
IV.
existed.
Yep.
But it's like Pedialyte for grown-ups in the powder form.
Yep. So, yeah. That's my very exciting last week. I still have 2 days off before I'm allowed back at work, so I have to go have my liver enzyme levels checked tomorrow because I really messed up my liver, apparently. Anyway,
I mean,
fun times.
It's always fun when you deliberately mess up those enzymes.
The function of an organ that you need to live.
Deliberately make your life incredibly inconvenient.
And expensive for everyone. Yeah, so that's been my week. You're not going to see a whole lot of progress from me, but I do have a sock that I just knit a row on.
So it counts.
So this is some Nomadic yarns in the Tomorrowland colorway. It's her sport weight base that I am knitting on size 1 needles. It's really, really pretty. So yeah, that is on the needles still, and still on the needles. I don't even know that I worked on this at all. I think I might have done a row as well, but the Weekender Light.
Yeah, I think you did a couple rows at Knit Night. I could be wrong though.
Well, I stopped in the middle of a row, so that's a sign of something. The Weekender Light is still in progress. It needs to get to around 6 inches, and then shaping starts happening, so I'm probably at like 3. I'll probably take this with me for car knitting on the way to Plyaway. If I still get to go to Plyaway, I have to wait on the doctor tomorrow. So if I get to go to Plyaway, I'll be arriving much later than anticipated, but that's okay. If I still get to go, we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic.
I feel like you would have to be convinced that not going would somehow save your life.
We'll see what the doctor says tomorrow. So those are the 2 things that I am working on. I'm going to actually finish this row. This will actually be the wrong side, so when this is worn, you'll see this inside with that slip stitch detail. So yeah, maybe this year this will get done. Maybe.
I'm confident it will get done this year.
I'd like it for the tasting room at SSK, and for Ponky to have, for people to see, maybe, well, for at least to be in the tasting room at SSK so people can see Ponky's really pretty yarn. So the yarn is another Crafty Girl. She actually had a sale this past week. She had like 30% off, I think, so I bought another skein of yarn, which surprises no one because she's one of my favorites.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
But that's it for me.
Okay, well, what am I working on? The only thing that I'm actively working on is the Recalibrate, which is a pattern by Shayna Lines Designs, Shayna Cohen. And I finished one side, and I'm working on the other side. This is going to be a cropped version. It's not going to be the full length, unless it blocks really huge. But yeah, so I finished one side, and I'm working on the second side. I haven't done the sleeve detail yet. The way the pattern's written, you do the sleeve detail before you move to the other side, but I haven't decided what color I'm going to do, like the sleeve and the neck yet, so I just put it on waist yarn.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out later. It'll add ends to weave in, presuming that I was going to use, one of these two colors. It doesn't bother me that much, so yeah, so I'm still working on this half.
I just knit all those stitches.
Instead of purling.
Yep. It's okay.
I'm a big advocate for knitting backwards.
I know you are. I'm a big advocate for purling, so.
I purl a lot more tightly than I knit, which is shocking because I knit pretty tightly. Or maybe it's I purl looser. I don't know. It's a significant gauge difference between my knitting and my purling. So if there's a stockinette section of something and it's flat, I'm going to knit across and then knit backwards on the other way, which is like if you looked at it from the back, I would be purling, but that made my tension much, much, much better. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's Recalibrate, which is hopefully I will be close to being done with the next time that we record. Possibly done, but I really don't think I'll get that far. And then after that, I'm going to be casting on for Parachuty
Ooh.
by Stephen West. And then I've got one more, two skeins of one colorway of yarn.
Oh, I had an idea for that.
What?
Have you seen the Rumble Raglan? It's
Yes, you showed it to me. You showed me Emily's last year.
so that was the one that had like color work.
Mhm.
There's one that's just plain that I think you would like.
I'll have to look at it.
Yeah. The one that you saw was, I think, Tumble Tea. And this is the Rumble Raglan.
I could
think.
swear you told me it was a Rumble Raglan.
Maybe I'm thinking Tumble Tea instead of there's one that's one
Okay.
color.
Well, I'll take a look. But if I don't find something for me with that 800 yards, I might make something for my younger sister. We'll see. But, yeah, that's what I'm working on. I finished some socks. So, the ones that I'm weaving in the last end now. I thought I was done with that, but I'm not. And let me just put that needle in there so it doesn't fall out. So, these are both Geektastic Yarns colorways. This one is the Sally colorway, and it's Night Before Christmas reference. That's the right name of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like
It is.
It's not Halloween something. All right. Yeah. So this.
They live in Halloween Town.
The Sally colorway. These are for my son who has a size 13 foot. It was listed as fingering weight, but it's Targhee, so it's plumper. So for me, I have to go up a needle size, or it's way too dense. That's my gauge thing. So I actually knit these on 3s.
Are those the ones that you ripped out from the tube?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knit these on a US size 3 needle, and I'm happy with them. I still think they're pretty dense for being on a US size 3. So they're for my son.
Mine would be like...
It'd be like a cowl.
It would look like I had done lace work, but I like triple wrap stitches and dropped them, but I had not.
Yeah.
Like on a size 3.
Our gauge
That's
is
so funny.
so different.
Cause like Targhee for me, I need size 0s.
I mean, I don't know with the magic of gauge or whatever, but like for me, 3s were great for this.
That's so funny.
I did almost run out of yarn, not because the yardage isn't sufficient, but because when I cranked these originally, I always save about 20 grams, somewhere in that neighborhood for heels and toes. And I put those in a separate bag, because why wouldn't you? Why would you keep things together? That's nonsense. And I didn't know where it was. I found it since then, but I only had like 2 stripes left before I was going to run out. And these aren't exactly identical. There's a couple spots where they vary a little bit, but my son's not going to care.
Nope.
So
He'll enjoy wearing them.
That's one pair of socks, and then this is another pair. This is also from Geektastic, and this is the None for Gretchen Wiener, which is a Mean Girls reference. And I cranked these on the sock machine, but then put toes and heels in afterwards. And instead of doing a ribbing at the top, I just folded the hem over about an inch. There's a moth. There's a moth. Why is there a moth in my room?
I don't know.
I have to go kill it. Sorry. Where'd it go?
It's over by your desk chair. It just flew above your desk chair.
Oh.
There's like this is like high suspense right now. Is Leslie going to catch the moth and kill it?
Oh, there it is. Come here, come here, come here, come here.
She's trying to lure it into her area.
I'm trying to get it where I can see it. Come here, Julie. I see you. I see you. Haha, I trapped you. No, I didn't. Gonna have to bleep that out.
Oh. Good job. Yes. Good
I
job.
have moth guts on me.
You are the champion, my friend.
Definitely gonna have to remember to bleep that out. Sorry about that.
I was trying to do like sports commentary for you. It didn't work.
Typically, I'm not like gotta kill the bugs, but moths around my yarn,
Yes.
that can't happen.
Yes.
Even though they're all like everything's in bags and then in totes.
Nope.
Anyway, so this is None for Gretchen Wiener, and I did a folded over hem. This is one that you can actually do on the machine itself, but I just do it afterwards when I forget to do it on the machine. So that's what I'm working on. That's it. 2
That's
pairs
it.
of socks.
That's awesome. I do have something finished, mainly because all that was left on it was the grafting.
Oh yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to do a test knit for Shayna Lines Designs, for her side hustle cuffs, and I used some hand spun. So there they are on my hands.
Yeah. I like the color combos.
Thank you. They were like a bits and bobs pack. So yeah, all these were colors that were included in the bits and bobs pack. So yeah, yay side hustle cuffs. I like them a lot. I'll knit them again because they're pretty simple. But if you've never done short rows before, this would be a great pattern to learn how to do short rows with. And it's also just it calls for DK. It's just a great pattern for using up those little bits and bobs of leftovers. If you're a spinner and you have like yarn left on your bobbins, this would be a fun project to ply those all up for as well.
Seems like it would be good for sometimes as spinners you have 4 ounces of something that you spin up with, or you spin up and you end up with 200 or 300 yards of something.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do with it. It's not enough
absolutely.
To do something big.
Well, you need a contrast color too, so yeah, and then some leftover bits from something else. Or if you get if you go to an event and they give you all these sample packs, like there's probably enough fiber in a 1/2 ounce sample pack to do that. Or even less than that, maybe even a 1/4 ounce sample pack to do the short row section with, in the contrast color. Yeah, so it's not really a thumb because there's no
the thumb area
hole, but yeah, absolutely. I do have some hand spin. All this was already spun, I feel like. The singles just had to be plied, and I had run out of bobbins. So I had plied, and then they were all just sitting there on bobbins when Leslie came over last Wednesday, and so she wound them off for me. So this is the first. It is Hello Yarn Frozen in Time. It's Romney. And it is 286 yards of a 2-ply. So right there at that DK weight. And I love Romney. It's one of my favorites. But it is a denser fiber. And then these two are Knit Spin Farm Bats from her gray club. She is switching to a brown club this next time, so I didn't know if you wanted to stay with that.
I trust her. I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
That's what I was thinking too. I like having like
Plus, that's not a color I have a lot of for in fiber. So, I mean, aside from fleece,
yeah.
like raw fleece.
Yeah. So this was like gray based series of months with like blips of color. So yeah, and then I'll be switch. I like the idea of a neutral with
Pops of color.
Yeah, pops of color, or an overlay of color. And then this is the only thing that's actually tagged. It is because I had pre-written the tag because I had thrown out the bag because it had gotten gross. This is Into the World Gray Cordale in the Perfect Storm colorway. This was a 3-ply. All the rest of those were 2-plies, and now I'm doing 3-plies. So this 3-ply is, where did I put it? Oh, 198 yards. So again, like a DK weight. And then there's this merino silk. It's so
Yeah, I like
soft.
That's my favorite so far.
Well, this is it, so.
Of what you've showed today, that's my favorite.
Okay. It's a 3-ply. It's Southern Cross Fiber. David always does an awesome job. And it is, the colorway was Big Sky at 65% merino, 35% mulberry silk, and it's 184 yards of a 3-ply. So yeah, again, this one's more of like an Aran weight. So this will be a good hat, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and warm and squishy.
And round.
Yeah. I don't do a ton of 3-plies. I really want to add them to my repertoire more. But I also was practicing for another project that I have going on for ply. Because I need some DK and heavier weight yarns. So I was practicing on those before I got to the fiber that I'm using for them. That is it for me for spinning. I've like spent the last week laying in bed, not even reading.
Watching TikTok.
Watching TikTok. Leslie knows because I'll like text her random TikToks through the day. Yeah, I texted your husband last night and I was like, I want to watch the live action Scooby-Doo, and it's nowhere, like you can't stream it anywhere without buying it. And I was like, I need you to fix this problem for me now, please.
Did he?
No, not yet.
Fail.
I was like, it
You
has
gotta
the...
text Keith. He's the one that adds stuff now.
I was like, it's got the mastermind.
It's got what's her face from Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar and her husband Freddie Prinze, but it's also got Rowan Atkinson, who's Mr. Bean, in it.
Yeah.
And it's got, but the most masterful moment is it's got, what was their name? This band from the 90s, the halo hanging from the corner of my 4-post bed, people.
Blink 182?
No, but now I can't remember anything but Blink 182. Sugar Ray.
Oh.
So Sugar Ray performs, but they're like zombies in this movie. It is amazing.
I mean, I vaguely remember seeing it around the time it came out.
So I was on Instagram yesterday and I put up a post like, what's your favorite 6-day movie? Like, I always go back to like Princess Bride, Labyrinth, and then the live action Scooby-Doo, which is actually, I was watching that when I learned to knit as a, when I got my wisdom teeth out. Wow. And I was so sick laying on the couch because I was allergic to the anesthesia that they used.
Yeah.
So throwing up as you've gotten your wisdom teeth out, do not
Sounds
recommend.
Like a fun time.
Yeah. But, yay. Uh, anyway, so I put a question on Instagram stories like, "What's your favorite sick day?" And it's really interesting what people responded. Like there are some people who love like Labyrinth and stuff like that. Howl's Moving Castle came up over and over again.
I want to say mine at least. I haven't had a sick day lately where I've watched. By lately, I mean like the last 5 years where I've like watched a movie, but I would probably say Ferris Bueller was
Oh, that's a good one.
one of my sick
I'm
day
not going to
movies.
say I watched any of these movies.
Yeah.
I laid there and they existed in the space surrounding me. But that's the thing about sick day movies. Like, you know them so well that you don't have to pay any kind of attention to them. But Ferris Bueller's a good one. There were some other good ones. Willow came up a couple times.
Heathers.
Oh, Heathers didn't come up. There were some good 90s ones. And then, like, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, some animated stuff came up. Shrek came up. It was interesting.
Shrek would be a good one.
It was interesting to see, like, the different generations, too, answers, for sure. Pitch Perfect came up, and I was like, I watched that for the first time with Leslie when I tore my MCL and could not move.
Yeah.
But this is the most days of school I've missed consecutively ever. Even when I tore my MCL, even when I had shingles, I've never missed this much time. So,
it's got to happen sooner or later.
Yeah. And I have lots of sick days banked, so we're going to use them.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're there for. Anyway.
Not going to do anybody any favors by running yourself ragged.
No. And I definitely would not be good at supervising children right now. Like,
the kids would probably like that.
Oh gosh. I'm kind of worried about
what your library's gonna look like when you get back.
I'm very concerned about that, but I'm trying to not be concerned about
it.
Being
concerned will not make a bit of difference in the outcome.
No.
So.
And because I have a study hall in there, I'm getting subs all this week for that study hall. So, like, I'm watching, like, subs pick it up and then drop it, like, immediately after study hall and be like, nope, out, peace. What can I say? Because I asked my work bestie across the hallway if she would just come show the shelf, like, show them how to shelf books. Like, subs could shelf books. That's a thing that could happen. But that was not going to happen, apparently. They dropped the assignment after that. So, whatever.
Well, have you gotten any reading done being off?
No. That's why I can't focus on stuff like that. Not even, like, listening or trying to do podcasts or anything. I've spent a long time just laying in bed, like, staring into the abyss, to quote Jim Carrey. And Pearl, I was moving too much, like, and was too hot. I also had a fever of 101 for 5 days. And so when I'd, like, get all sweaty, this is super attractive. Anyway, and it was too much for her. I was moving too much, so she didn't even share the bed with me. She was not a good nurse puppy. She like,
time for you.
Went into the other room. I was keeping her awake. She did sleep with me last night, though. Because my fever finally broke yesterday. The night I went to the doctor's. So anyway. Yay!
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm super boring this week.
Just tired. I didn't sleep super great. Well, I stayed up too late reading.
What have you been reading, though, friend?
Well, I started and finished a book called Hide by Kirsten White. It's a horror kind of thriller book. It's about this group of families that made a bargain with some occult presence, and they have to feed it a certain number of people every 7 years or something, and so they create a way to do that by putting it in the center of an amusement park. And anyway, it's an interesting book. I mean, it didn't change my life or anything, but I enjoyed it. I think I actually purchased it because I got a sample and really liked it, so I just bought it. And then I read Into the Dread Void by Abe Moss, which is also sort of a horror kind of thriller suspense book. That one's on Kindle Unlimited. And I like the first one okay, so I'll probably read the second one. But I've been in sort of a horror / eldritch kind of mood for reading, so that's what I've been reading. I finished the Kate Daniels series and am now going back to listening to something I hadn't finished, which was
Did I tell you the new one's more of a short novel
Yeah.
than a short story?
I'll take anything they write, so
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be a short story, and they exceeded their word count by like 20,000. So.
no complaints from me.
Yep. Exactly.
But I'm listening again to Mount Fitzroy, which is the second in a book series by Scott Siegler, who's the same guy who wrote the Pandemic series that I read. And that one's kind of a science fiction. Aliens live deep underground, and the aliens are like, they call them roctopi because they're like octopus-ish. They've got like all these tentacles. But they're like big bags of jelly, essentially. And they communicate by flashing colors. It's an interesting book. This one's too long. It's like 26 hours. And I'm 16 hours into it, and I'm just like, get to the end.
Do you ever listen at a faster speed?
No, not typically. Because I think I think that I don't enjoy it because you know how I am with certain noises where, like, if I'm expected to have a conversation, I can't also have like a video playing on a phone nearby because my brain tries to parse both bits of information and I can't, and it makes me angry, which is dumb, but like that's the reaction I have. So I would probably have a hard time keeping up mentally because I'm picturing things as they happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can't process that fast, but I know there are people who can process.
Some of our knit group folks listen to things at like higher speeds. So, I mean, if you can make it work for you, rock on. Like,
especially if they start getting bored.
Yeah. But I'm always doing something else. Like I'm always knitting or sewing or throwing the ball for Carly. It's like my penance. It's like
you're gonna have one really strong arm.
I keep seeing on TikTok like the cheese tax, like the dog video, and it's like for me, anytime I get up,
it's the ball
tax. I mean, I don't exaggerate. If I don't throw that ball for about 15 minutes, at least 7 or 8 times a day, she's a nightmare. So, whatever. It's a small thing. I can do it.
Yeah. Just need to wear her out.
Yeah.
Stash Dash is coming at the end of May. It is the Friday. It will start the Friday before Memorial Day. But I don't have the brain space to do that right now.
It's fine. You got a month almost.
So, more details on that will be coming. But
you're going to Flyaway this weekend, in all likelihood.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I really want to take my class with Deborah Ibsen and Maggie Casey. So I really want to go.
And there's people you want to see.
Yeah,
your
there's
mom's
so many
coming.
friends. It's like the one trip my mom and I do together where we get to hang out.
Yeah.
And I'll get to see Emily and Beth and Jillian Marino and Maggie Casey, of course, and JC and all the people that I work with at Fly, which is nice because I never see them in real life either elsewise. But yeah, I'd like to go. And then I'm really hoping for Maryland as well. We'll see.
I mean, I would say unless things take a sharp turn, I expect you'll be going to Maryland.
Yeah, I hope so. So, Maryland's flying, so.
Yeah. But it's also 2 weeks from now, right? It's not the weekend you get back. It's still going after that.
I get back on Sunday, hopefully from Flyaway, and then it's not the following week, it's the week after.
It's the first weekend in May, right?
Yeah. So, there's some time there, but I've also been going to the doctor every other week for since February. So
Yeah, but then you probably, once you get this sorted, you probably won't go to the doctor again for 3 years. So
well, I'll have to for my regular meds, but hopefully not for anything else. I'm so sick of paying all my money to the doctors
yeah, I get that.
and feeling crappy while doing it. So yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I want to go to both, and hopefully I will get to both. So yeah. If you see me at either event, please come up and say hi. I'm not going to do any meetups or anything. I get preoccupied. Time is like, what is time? I'd be late to my own funeral if I could be. So I typically get preoccupied doing something else and don't make it. So if you see me, please come say hi. And it's not because y'all aren't a priority, it's just my brain. So come say hi. Come give me a high five, fist bump, hug, whatever you're comfortable with. But introduce yourself to me first.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
But yeah, if I don't know you, introduce yourself to me first. Maybe even a reminder.
Okay.
There's lots of people in my head. I teach 1,000 little people every year. So, 1,000 plus.
That's a lot of kids.
So many kids. Anyway, I think that's it for this week. I'm going to go home and go to bed.
Yep. And I'm also going to go to bed. I'm going to take a nap because I'm 42 years old. I can do that whenever I want, that I don't have to work or have other obligations.
There you go.
On my time.
Naps are amazing.
So, we hope you guys have an awesome weekend. If you're going to be at Pliaway, make sure you say hi to Laura if you see her. And hopefully you will continue to feel better.
Thank you, friend.
And we will see you again next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.